Everybody, thank you for being here this morning to talk about a topic that is not new to this committee, and that topic is the needed improvements to the disability claims processing system. As of this week, VA had nearly 900,000 pending claims, with over 70% of those claims pending for longer than VA's targeted processing time of 125 days. Now, recently, VA has rolled out its transformation plan as a means of addressing this growing backlog of claims. Now, a quick search of Merriam-Webster's dictionary, transformation means the act of changing in composition or structure. Similarly, plan is defined as a detailed formulation of a program or an action. What we have seen from VA so far does not amount to a significant change in the culture of the organization, nor has VA provided a very detailed formulation of the plans that they have for moving forward. Although it is my hope that VA is truly committed to changing the culture of the department. Most of what we've seen so far consists of repackaging old initiatives with new PowerPoint presentations and impressive buzzwords. Speaking of buzzwords, VA has repeatedly stated that it plans on accomplishing its transformation plan by focusing on people, process, and technology. Now, our purpose this morning is to focus on the first of these three elements, and what may be the most important element, and that is people. Although much emphasis is placed on the process and technology, I do believe that we should focus more on the people that are doing the work. There are thousands of men and women who on a daily basis work throughout the Department of Veterans Affairs doing a great job, and those jobs should not go unacknowledged. Nonetheless, the more people VA hires to process claims, it appears the worse the department's productivity is. Indeed, as the first chart that we will put on the screen this morning shows, in 1997, the average VA field employee processed 135 claims per year, whereas in 2011, that number had dropped to 73 claims per year. Further, as the second chart shows, VA has nearly 3 times as many field employees to do the work now than it did 15 years ago. Now, one would think that working fewer cases per employee would result in higher accuracy rates, but actually accuracy is stagnant as the budget has grown exponentially. Unfortunately, so too have the processing delays. As I've stated many times before, there are many people, including myself, who are losing patience as we continue to hear the same excuses from VA about increased workload and increased complexity of claims. And let me just give you one example from VA's own budget books, and I quote, "The effect of the military drawdown on VA's claims process is marked not only by a large volume of claims being received, but also by increasing complexity of those claims. As a result of the pre-discharge counseling being given to service personnel, veterans have been claiming more conditions on their initial applications. Instead of the traditional 2 to 3 disabilities per claim, regional offices are dealing with 10 to 15 issues per claim." Now, I could go on, but I just asked, does this sound familiar? It should, because of what I just read to you came out of VA's February 1994 budget submission. Now, VA has and will encounter complications along the way. However, VA's demonstrated history shows its inability or refusal to forecast problems and anticipate its needs, and the only people paying a price for the failure of VA are the veterans. The time for excuses is over. So Undersecretary Hickey, we are here today to have an honest discussion about the people who make up VBA, from file clerks to RO directors to VA central office managers, and on how you intend to transform this workforce through better accountability and workload management practices. Now, I recently had the opportunity to travel to Baltimore to their RO, and I was able to observe new employees challenge training. And I also learned more about the station enhancement training that the Baltimore RO will soon undergo. And although proper training is important, I'd like to reiterate that that is not all there is that needs to be done. VA also needs to remain focused on accountability and better workload management practices. For example, when the words we hear most often from VA when you're called before us is NEMR. NEMR, a class action lawsuit that requires VA to prioritize certain Agent Orange presumptions, did in fact add significantly to VA's workload. However, during the 111th Congress, Secretary Shinseki testified before this committee that VA would easily be able to fast-track those claims. And I quote, "By 2013, we will be back to where we are today at about 161 days to process a claim." Undersecretary Hickey, as you know, we are not anywhere near that number today. On the contrary, 280 days for an initial rating decision. Without better workload or surge capacity planning, I am fearful that VA is simply one national mission away from complete collapse and utter failure. This is simply unacceptable. So again, we are here today to explore how the people who make up VA can prevent this scenario from happening. And I want to thank the Undersecretary for being here today, as well as all those who have submitted statements for the record. And I now yield to our ranking member, Mr. Michaud, for his opening statement.